artists, it's time to keep working on your fossil cover. Last week, you should have drawn the fossil cover, and hopefully you even did a second draft, or maybe even a third, until you have a cover that you're happy with. So, I've done that. Here's my fossil cover. You'll notice I left a big space at the top for the title, a picture of my fossil, and then my name, by Mrs. Hendricks. I'm doing the Quetzalcoatlus. So if you don't have a fossil that you're proud of yet, I want you to pause this video and draw it, but don't color yet. Just draw. Now that you're ready, you might notice in my fossil photo, there's a lot of really cool texture. You can tell that the Quetzalcoatlus is in the ground. And our story is going to be about a paleontologist discovering a fossil in the ground. So we want to make our drawing look like it's in the ground, right? So to do this, you're going to need your fossil and an extra scrap piece of paper. This is one that I've used before for something else, and so I don't need it anymore. Then you're going to take your scrap piece of paper, and you're going to crinkle it up. Crinkle, 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 crinkle. And then unfold it carefully. Don't rip. Okay. Then you're going to crinkle it again. Crinkle it as good as you can. You might even want to do this a third time if you want. But I think, ooh, squeeze nice and tight. Nice and tight. I think 3 should be good for me. I'm going to unfold it. And you can see just how crinkly this paper is. This is going to help us create our texture. So, for the next part, what you're going to do is as follows. Okay, so I've got my crinkly paper, and I'm going to put it on my table and flatten it with my hands. You're not trying to smooth out the wrinkles, you're just trying to make it flat enough that it's on your paper. Then you're going to put your drawing of your fossil, your cover, on top of that. Now you'll want 3 colors of crayons. I'm using gray, brown, and orange. You're looking for the colors that are in your dirt. If your dirt looks kind of like mine, you'll also want to do gray, brown, and orange. If you have a dirt that looks darker, maybe you want to add some blue in there. You get to be creative about what you're adding. But keep in mind that depending on your fossil, you might not even do this step. My friends who have a shark tooth, a megalodon tooth, for example, you'll do this step on the inside of the fossil instead of the outside. My friends who have amber, you probably won't do this at all unless you want to try adding it to your cicada or your spider's body. But everybody who has a rock background, this is a great opportunity. If you have just a dinosaur's head, I would recommend putting this inside the rock, inside the fossil. Because remember, our dinosaur's bones are actually, these fossils are actually kind of like rocks. So we can do this texture. All right, so now that you know, I've got my fossil, and I'm going to peel the tops of my crayons so that they look like this orange one. So I'm going to find the edge. If you need an adult to help you with this step, they can help you. You're not trying to peel the entire crayon. That is not necessary. We just want to peel a little bit. In fact, if you peel the entire crayon, it's going to make this really hard. I think this might be enough orange. I'm going to give myself some brown. All right, the brown peeled really nicely. Now you take the side of the crayon, it doesn't matter which color you start with, and you're going to color over your wrinkles. If you want to push with different angles, you can. Try and avoid coloring on the bones themselves, the fossil bones themselves. Go ahead and go into that box notes that you're leaving for your title. And can you start to see how when I fill up these big spaces, it makes it look wrinkly? You can see the texture of the wrinkled paper underneath as it magically shows up. Again, try and avoid your fossils. When you have those little small places, you can use the corner of your crayon because it's harder to go around them, right? Hey, after you've used a lot of one color, I want you to switch to another color. So now I'm going to use my gray, and I'm actually going to turn my paper upside down so that the gray picks up different parts of the wrinkled paper. Oh, it's got the edge of my paper right there, and that's okay. That'll make it look really interesting. Let's go on our edge over here. And now let's get some orange involved. Ooh, for the orange, it looks like I do need to peel more. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and go all everywhere, even on top of my fossil, so that I can have this color look really natural. If black is your last color, don't go on top of your fossil because that will make the fossil disappear. Oh, that looks really nice, doesn't it? Okay, my very last step, I'm going to take a black thin marker and I'm going to go over the lines of my fossil. We call this an outline, as you might remember from first grade. Outline because it's the line on the outside. Make sure that you're looking at your fossil. I've got mine right here, my picture of my fossil, right here. Make sure you're looking at that as you draw. And make sure you use that black marker so that everybody who looks at your book can tell and follow along. Okay, now I'm going to pause and finish drawing my fossil so you can see the finished product. Okay, I finished drawing out my fossil. Here's my picture and here's my drawing. Remember, my steps were first, I organized my fossil on the page. We did that last week. We made the box for the title, the place for our name, and we drew our fossil. And then I drew it again until I was happy with it. Then I made a wrinkly sheet of paper. I put it underneath my drawing. I got my peeled crayons. I got 3 colors, and I filled in all the places that I wanted to have this texture. So for a lot of you, that's going to be the dirt or a rock that your fossil's in. For some of you, that might be the fossil itself. And all of you can, and even if you're doing amber, you can have it look like a tree. So go ahead and make your background look like this cool texture. And then next week, we'll be ready to draw our paleontologist. Awesome job, everybody!